Listen, I know what this looks like, just sit down for a second, let me explain. So I mentioned briefly in my other videos that anime and video games were a big part of my childhood. But another really big part was Disney, and I'm sure that many of you could say the same. Y'all know what Disney is, right? I don't have to stop and brief you guys on what the fuck a Goofy is or anything, right? Okay, good. Anyway, I loved watching Disney shorts and shows whenever I could. My personal favorite being House of Mouse. You could probably guess that this love of Disney also spread to the video games. Namely, Disney's Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse, aka Mickey Mouse's Mysterious Mirror, aka my growing picture collection of Mickeys with threatening auras. This little point-and-click adventure from 2002 caught my eye when I first saw its commercial on TV. You know, as many kids would before the internet ruined us all. I saw it as a big compilation of silly adventures and mishaps starring Mickey, pretty much like how House of Mouse was a show full of a bunch of silly shorts involving various Disney characters. By the way, and I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I can't find anything on this show. The most I can find are really bad clips on YouTube or really shady places selling the DVDs, which is a shame because I would love to take a look at the show sometime to see if it holds up. So I picked up Magical Mirror almost immediately, and I remember having a pretty good time with it, despite the terrifying moments that I came across. I also remember getting stuck a lot, and never beating it despite the game actually being pretty easy and straightforward. I wasn't a smart kid. I know that this is an odd game to cover and it heavily contrasts what I've previously looked at, but I got a few reasons for wanting to look at this game. First, I want to cover something lighter and easier after straining myself on the Dot Hack quadrilogy. Second, I feel like this game is a bit of an overlooked gem. At least, I don't see many people talk about it compared to other Disney games. Did you know this game was developed by Capcom? I didn't even know this game was developed by Capcom. And the third and biggest reason, I'm petty as fuck and I'm still a little ashamed that I never beat this game as a kid. So this is sort of like a pathetic way to get closure. You know, now that I'm a 22-year-old adult. And hey, you know, Kingdom Hearts 3 is really close to coming out, so maybe this could be considered kinda topical. Alright, that is the one mention of Kingdom Hearts 3 that I needed, so I can just... There we go. Right off the bat, we're given the choice of starting the game in Kids mode or normal mode. I never bothered to check what Kids mode does because, once again, I'm petty and stubborn, but from what I've seen after a bit of searching, it basically plays the game for you. If we went with this mode, it would basically defeat the purpose of getting closure, so instead let's just jump right in.
That's what I expected from you.
The game starts off with Mickey sleeping peacefully at night, when suddenly his spirit is woken up by a ghost in the mirror, inviting him inside. Mickey, at what point did following any of this seem like a good idea? You're having an out-of-body experience, you could see your sleeping body right there, and the thing inviting you into a deep dark abyss looks like this. What did you think was going to be inside there? You know what, if I stopped to question everything in this game, we'd be here for a while. Fun little fact that I figured I should mention. This whole game is loosely based on a Mickey Mouse short from 1936, called Through the Mirror. The whole opening is super similar to the way the short starts too. In fact, the way he gets into the mirror is the exact same way he gets into the mirror in the cartoon as well. I thought that was a fun little touch. And you could even see some of the cartoon later in the game, just to cement the callback further. So after falling into the abyss, again, what were you expecting? Mickey finds himself in a building, and immediately we're hit with what we can expect for the rest of the game. Mickey ends up bullying Mickey, and a wacky chase happens until eventually the fake Mickey turns out to have been the ghost that we saw from earlier. Get ready to see this little shit a lot, by the way. His entire goal of the game is to fuck with Mickey. He's not even the worst one either. The biggest offender of being an asshole is really the player, but we'll get to that later. Mickey follows the ghost over to a big mirror room, where he can see himself sleeping on the other side. He tries to go home by jumping into the mirror, but he gets blocked off by the ghost, who then shatters the mirror into 12 different pieces. I don't know why we need a dramatic Matrix pause for this, but I'm not completely against it. The pieces of the mirror are scattered throughout the game world and Mickey has to collect them all in order to go home. That's pretty much all that really needs to be said about the main plot of the game, until the very end. The rest of the game is actually surprisingly open, as in we can go about all this in pretty much any order we want, and there's really not much stopping us save for a few locked doors and items that we find in different areas. The game is pretty standard point and click adventure stuff. Click somewhere, Mickey walks there, you can interact with stuff that the game says is interactable, and you can collect items that you might need for later use. The game is even kind enough to tell you when you need to use an item, so you aren't stuck using everything on everything like in other point-and-click games. And they pretty much spell out what you'll be using every item on in the respective descriptions. What makes the game stand out though, and what I think is a big draw of it, are the tricks. So throughout the game, you'll come across these little events called tricks, indicated by the screen shaking. Once you click on the trickable item, time stops and you can spend a few of these stars at the top left corner of the screen to make something neat happen. Sometimes the trick will cost a bunch of stars, and you'll need to collect these blue stars in order to increase your meter to perform more tricks. The inventory screen makes it sound like Mickey is the the one doing these tricks, but really most of these are at the expense of Mickey. Like, I've very rarely seen any tricks where Mickey comes out as a big winner. There's a few points where he gets strangled, chased, almost crushed. I don't even know what's going on with him in here. Really, it feels like the player is against Mickey this whole game. And I really want to bring emphasis on these tricks because that's where most of your enjoyment is going to come from in this game. I want to say there's at least one in every room, and there's some that don't even do anything. Some even send you on a long series of events without actually giving you any sort of payoff for it. In these cases, the reward for the events are the events themselves. Like right here, in one of the first rooms of the game, you spend 2 stars to shrink Mickey in the most horrific way possible, spend more stars to get him on a train with a suitcase, spend more stars to turn that suitcase into a monster that tries to kill Mickey, because that's something you want to do, right? Then you spend more stars to get Mickey to safety like the cruel god that you are, then you make your way out to a previous room, plug in a cord, go back through a gap in a door, get chased by this terrifying possessed duck that tries to crush you, spend more stars to climb to safety, only to realize that the duck could fly, then spend more stars to pilot a toy airplane, letting Mickey shoot the duck down to reveal that the ghost was possessing it the whole time, then chase the ghost into a poster to play a shoot 'em up minigame that ends with a boss fight against the ghost. And when you finally finish all that, you get absolutely nothing. That's it. Mickey just wakes up and moves on. You're also going to need tricks to get pretty much all of the mirror shards in the game, even the most obvious ones like this one where it's just on the floor. Mickey, you can see the shard. The rug is lifted, just fucking No, what you need to do is go through a door for Mickey to get spooked by the ghost, thereby lifting the rug up enough during his escape to reveal the shard. You really could have just picked that up, Mickey. Then there's the most devious ones like this one in the chandelier. Once you get into this Resident Evil ass foyer, you gotta place Mickey just right so that the ghost can go full Scissor Man and try to kill Mickey. Once again, this event is activated by a trick. What kind of cruel monsters are we, risking Mickey's life like this? He didn't even know this was happening. We start this event by ourselves. Alright, this video needs some sort of order so I'm not just all over the place. Let's actually start from the foyer that I mentioned, since that's sort of where the game splits off and really opens up to let you do whatever you want. One door's a fake, but there's 2 other doors here with huge branches. I know it looks like there's only one side door, but that's because the game has an issue with really bad camera angles. It almost feels like you have to trick the game into showing you the areas you actually want to go to, clicking on unrelated things to get the right angle, which sends Mickey on a completely separate path. It just feels a little jank. So that hidden door leads to the basement, which also doesn't, but we'll get to that soon enough. It leads Mickey down into this creepy storage area where even more danger happens. See, this is why you don't follow ghosts into weird mirrors. What the hell is going on in this game? Why is everything just trying to scare the shit out of Mickey? I know I made a Resident Evil joke a bit ago, but I wasn't expecting actual Biohazard Kids Edition here. We continue into that same branch and find ourselves in a cave. After the cave, we end up in... Wait, hold on a second. Weren't we just in the basement like a minute ago? Well, we can't do anything in the clock tower until we find a missing cog piece, so we're forced to go back and look around some other routes. Thankfully, these swirl doors actually cut backtracking time down significantly. The cog piece isn't hard to find either. It's in a piggy bank in one of the first rooms in the game. All we have to do is fill the piggy bank and... Alright, what the fuck? I just wanted the cog. You didn't need to play the goddamn echoes of a dying pig in my ears. Speaking of ears, the music in the game isn't actually that bad. I mean, I hope you don't mind hearing the same music tracks in the game over and over again because there's only like 5 songs in the entire game, but it really isn't bad for setting the mood in the areas, in a fun, cartoony kind of way. Plus, some of these minigames actually have some funky ass tunes. Seriously, this is like something from Jet Set Radio. I love it. I don't know what's going on with this mini Mickey music though. It's almost creepy to me in a way. I kind of hate it. I took this chance to actually check out the other side of the mansion as well, since I was there. This side might as well be called the lock side because every other door here needed a key. I was wondering why I was holding so many at once. Turns out it was because this whole wing is just Luigi's mansion. So this wing can't be as bad as the last one, right? I mean, that was pretty weird. What with the fact that we were in a cave and then we ended up in a clock tower, so things will only look up from here, right? Look, we even get like the one trick in the game that gives Mickey a moment of peace. We don't get anything from this at all. It's just nice to see Mickey get a break after being almost murdered like 4 times so far. Surely things are looking up for our little buddy. Oh, Mickey, I'm so sorry. I actually got kinda stuck here for a minute because of this specific hallway. Every door just leads you to a different random door in the same hallway, endlessly. Well, every door but this specific one, which was the one door that I didn't check before going back and looking around the rest of the mansion. I don't know who I should be mad at, myself or the game. But once we get past that hallway, we get hit with a room with a really aggressive bee. I don't get where this bee's hostility is coming from. Mickey was just sleeping and the bee decided that he was the perfect target for a murder-suicide. That's a bee joke. Thankfully, this is Mickey after Kingdom Hearts, so he's pretty capable of fighting off a bee.
Come on!
Okay, so this is like the only chance I'm gonna get to say this, so what the fuck is up with the faces Mickey makes in this game? I get that some of these aren't exactly voluntary, but other times he looks like he's the bad guy that got away with a terrible crime. Some of these faces are pretty unwarranted too. And who the hell thought it was a good idea to give him sunken eyes? It looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. Even his default still face looks eerie to me. Just the way he has a constantly open, hanging smile. Even when he's in dire situations like in the sword scene, he's just smiling away, like the threat of danger actually excites him. Mickey scares the bee off, then does a weird dance charades thing with a fish in the next room. I'm honestly not sure what's going on here. And then we find ourselves in a music room. I think anyone can guess where this is going. Well, with Mickey picking up a guitar and getting ready to rock out. Alright, you know, I'm not the best at rhythm games, but I mean, how bad could this be? It's just a kid's game, it probably won't be that hard.
Jesus Christ!
Alright, so I got a few mirror shards from this branch, but I also ran into a locked door while being out of keys. And the attic area I found had an event with a tiny ghost, but I needed an item to deal with this tiny ass. So I decided to try the clock tower again, going through another swirl door to get back to the start, and... Wait, what's going on here? The mirror isn't complete yet. Why is Mickey able to go back? Why is the ghost looking so down? Wait, what's going on here? I could look around? Well, alright, let's inspect the mirror a little further.
Well, so long, pal. No hard feelings, huh?
Wait, hold on, that's it? That's the end of the game? But I didn't finish the mirror. Wait, hold on, the ghost looks so sad. What, is this the bad end? Did I get a bad end? Does this game have bad ends? Mickey just gets up to go eat some breakfast. What the hell is happening? Yeah, those are credits and a completion screen. That's the end. Well, wow. I knew the game would be lenient, but I wasn't expecting to only need some of the main goal to just end the game. I mean, I am going back. My personal goal was to beat the game into dust for catharsis. I can't exactly feel better about my childhood stupidity if I leave the job half done, can I? Thankfully, the game is kind enough to let you resume right where you left off when you got the bad end. The world even resets a bit, so you could try your hand at getting a few tricks that you could have missed before, which is very nice since the final stats of the game tracks how many tricks you've gotten. There's a bit of a bonus when you finish the game too. You got the bonus room, which lets you check out items you've collected in the main game and also replay minigames. And there's also hat mode, which I don't fully understand. Hat mode makes 5 hats that are placed somewhere in the game world, and you can find them. The weird part is that you actually choose where they're placed, and once you collect them all, it doesn't really do anything. You can't even wear them. I guess they're for a scavenger hunt that you could play with your friend? I don't know, I didn't really dwell on this too much. I had a main goal to beat. I did trigger the final cutscene again, just to see what I would get if I selected the ghost instead of the mirror. I guess that was the big reveal, saying that the ghost just wanted a friend to hang out with, since Mickey just smiles and agrees with the ghost, making the ghost smile back and mess around with Mickey some more, resuming the little game they had going on. You know, I get wanting to have fun, but how many times have you tried to kill Mickey now? So we make our way back to the clock tower, fixing it up and watching Mickey do some gymnastics to impress basically no one. Then he falls into the cogs like the dumb idiot that he is, and gets spit out at the roof of the tower, letting us cross over to the bell tower and thereby an entire new chunk of the game. And what a doozy this chunk is. We got dungeons, rundown mansions, killer sharks, and libraries. The dungeon area is the big one that I feel deserves a special mention. So when Mickey goes deeper into the dungeon, he finds a barrel room with the ghost throwing a bunch at him. His response is to, obviously, beat the shit out of those barrels. This whole chunk of the game actually loops back into the music room. somehow. And it also has every missing item that we need to finish up the loose ends. So it's all a matter of collecting the shards and finishing up the game. Again. There's some stuff still that isn't related to a shard, by the way, like the long list of things you gotta do to unlock the snowboarding minigame, which, by the by, controls terribly. I can't keep Mickey still, he's just flopping around all over the place. Jumping takes a million years and is the stiffest thing in the world, and it's just pure awful. As per usual, we don't actually get anything from it either. Because of course we wouldn't, the reward was the minigame itself. Because it's so much fun. Alright, since the rest of the game is really just finishing up loose ends without any more exploring, I might as well speed things up a bit. Once we get the last shard of the game, we take another warp back to the start of the game, where we're given the choice of going through the mirror or staying again. Not that there's really anything to do in the game if you did stay, so I don't know why you would, but the option is there. So Mickey goes through the mirror just like in the bad end, only this time, instead of being by ourselves and leaving the ghost behind, the ghost is invited along too, in an admittedly sweet scene. Mickey and the ghost escape the magic mirror and Mickey wakes up, going through basically the same thing he did at the bad end, only this time the ghost is implied to be hovering around, free to do as he pleases. So that's the good end. We freed the evil spirit and now he could fuck with Mickey whenever he wants. Yay? So this was definitely a different video, especially compared to the other 4 videos I had done prior to this one. It certainly isn't as big woke brain as an RPG, and yeah, it's for kids, but you know, I actually had a good time. I mean, as good of a time you would expect from playing a children's point-and-click adventure. This was basically my version of something like Pajama Sam or Freddy Fish, and I know plenty of adults that still have fun playing those games out of nostalgia and charm alone, and honestly, I feel this game is no different. Obviously it was made for kids and would be best to get for, I don't know, your own kid or your younger sibling or whatever, but as a shitty, degenerate man-child adult, I had my own version of fun too. It was like going through a 4-hour-long marathon of Disney shorts centered around Mickey in a big mirror world continuity, and that's pretty fun if you ask me. And I wasn't kidding about 4 hours either. You'll be done with this game in like an afternoon, tops. You'll find it pretty cheap online too, at least I certainly did. So if you ever just want to have a laugh and watch some cartoons, maybe get some friends or family and have a good relaxing time, I'd say this is a pretty safe game to bet on. And really, I think we all need a game or show or anything really to just relax to every once in a while and let some stress go. At least that's what I've been needing lately, and the game certainly delivered just that. I hope it does the same for you if you decide to pick it up. Have a good one.